Part 85. Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 849. Look at all your chattering. Chin ding, the shares in my hand have been sold to others. In 5 minutes, the terms will take effect. There is no need to call me at the next shareholders meeting. A shareholder who never said a word, he seemed to be getting impatient, stood up abruptly, slapped the table, and shouted harshly. Chin ding looked stunned. What? Sold. Chin ding remembered that this person was a major shareholder, holding 8% of the shares. Before Chin had any problems, this person had always paid attention to Chin's condition. 2 months ago, he privately revealed that he would support himself in becoming the next chairman of Chin Group. Ahem, me too. Anyway, this is a shareholders meeting, so there's nothing else to do without me. I remembered that I had something else to do, so I left first. As if a switch had been turned on, the other shareholders finally no longer had any scruples. They gave Chin ding a few perfunctory words, and then they all made excuses and left. In the end, the shareholders meeting ended unhappy. Chin ding held his head in his hands in despair. He was really helpless. In the past, he said that he was very good at management, but how much of it was real and how much was just flattery? Even he could no longer tell the difference. Just as Chin ding braced himself and wanted to think of a way to break the situation, the door to the conference room was opened from the outside. Then, 7 or 8 people came in, all with unfamiliar faces. The leading man said, Hello, Mr. Chin ding. Chin ding looked stunned. Who are you? The man took out several documents from his briefcase and placed them in front of Chin ding. I am the lawyer invited by Mr. Chin Lin. At the same time, I was also a witness when Mr. Chin drafted the marriage contract. What? Chin ding's mind was in a mess, but he could still capture some keywords. What about Chin Lin, lawyers, marriage contracts, witnesses? When the Chin and Du families got married, Mr. Chin drew up a marriage contract, which clearly stated that all the property of the Chin family would be inherited by the biological children of Mr. Chin Tianlang and Ms. Du Chuanfang, and the rest would not have any inheritance rights. Mr. Chin ding, you own 15% of the shares of the Chin Group, and you are the illegitimate son of Mr. Chin Tianlang. According to the contract, you do not have the legal right to hold the 15% shares and need to return them to the real owner. Wait. You are crazy. Chin ding found it difficult to accept the facts this man said. The 15% of the shares I have were given by the chairman himself, and they belong to me. The man shook his head slightly. No, when the chairman breaks the agreement, not to mention your shares, not even his shares belong to him. Chin ding. Mr. Chin ding, Mr. Chin Tianlang, who is currently under arrest, did not complain much and simply gave away his shares. No. Impossible, Chin ding muttered to himself. His father had clearly said that he didn't like Chin Lin and would not give him any shares. Seeing that Chin ding didn't believe it, the man took out a share transfer agreement. In the last part of the signature, those 3 familiar words stung Chin ding's eyes. If you still don't believe it and don't want to sign, I can only hand it over to the authorities. It just so happens that we can investigate the matter of Mr. Chin Tianlang together. The man's face was unhurried, as if this was not a threat, but a simple greeting. Where is Chin Lin? I want to see him. Chin ding's voice became a little dry. After an hour. In a coffee shop. The lawyer Chin Chi met handed him a stack of paper documents. Mr. Chin, these are all the shares of the Chin Group. Except for the 5% shares held by your mother, including your father's shares, all it has been taken back. Please take a look. Chin Chi reached out to take it and started to read it. Although Chin Chi didn't major in business management at university, he was educated by his family since he was a child, so he didn't know anything about it. On the contrary, he has been very talented since he was a child. Otherwise, just because of his status as a direct descendant, he would not be favored by his deceased grandfather. Well, there's no problem. After Qin Shi read the document, he put it away. Lawyer, by the way, Mr. Qin Ding wants to see you, but I don't know. Qin Shi refused directly, no. Qin Shi's feelings towards Qin Ding cannot be said to be extremely hateful, but due to issues of position and identity, it is absolutely impossible to communicate calmly. Not seeing him and staying away from him is the best way to deal with it. Furthermore, Qin Shi is not so free. Okay, I'll convey your message. After the lawyer left, Qin Shi looked at the documents in hand again carefully. This time, Qin Shi was doing valuation. He wanted to sell off the Qin family. The Qin family is now severely weakened. If you want to restore the former glory, it will not be easy overnight. Moreover, Qin Shi knows that this is not his ambition. Even if the Qin family is given to him now, he will not be able to manage too much. However, a skinny camel is bigger than a horse. Although the Qin family has declined, it still has value. After everything is cashed out, Qin Shi can have a comfortable living condition even if he doesn't do anything. Qin family. Ding how is the company? What's the attitude of those old antiques? Has your father come out yet? Qin Ding returned home tired both physically and mentally, but was caught by his biological mother He Xiaochen and asked several questions in a row. Qin Ding looked impatient. Mom, the Qin family is gone. He Xiaochen froze on the spot. What's missing? Qin Ding could only tell the cause of the matter. How could this happen? How could it? He Xiaochen almost collapsed to the ground. Then all our efforts over the years have been in vain. That old man is really so annoying. He can't even live without death. Anyway, let's wait for father to come out first. Since the old man has been dead for so long, the only person in charge of the Qin family is your father. Well, let's take it easy for now. By the way, where is Qin Shen? For more than a month, Qin Ding racked his brains to preserve the Qin family. As for Qin Shen, except when Qi Bubi came to humiliate them, Qin Ding had not seen him for a long time. At that time, he said he didn't recognize Qin Shen. Qin Ding calmed down afterwards, and since there was He Xiaochen, it was inevitable that he would secretly bring him back for treatment. Shenner is still the same as before, hiding in the room all the time. I don't know if something is wrong with him, He Xiaochen sighed. He Xiaochen didn't understand the company's affairs and couldn't help. As for the strange situation of her youngest son Qin Shen, He Xiaochen was also at a loss what to do. Ding why don't you go see your brother? Your father is not at home. Shenner may be the only one who can persuade him, as long as you don't stay bored in the room. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuan-Ke. Chapter 850. Qin Ding hesitated for a moment and nodded, okay. Because Qin Shen angered the Gu family and the Qin family was now in trouble, Qin Ding was naturally angry at first. But over the years, although this brother's private life has been somewhat chaotic, he has always respected his elder brother. More than a month has passed, and it's time to check on Qin Shen's condition. Qin Ding went upstairs alone and came to the door of Qin Shen's room. The door to the room was unlocked, so Qin Ding opened the door directly and went in. Xiao Shen. There were no lights on in the room, the curtains were tightly drawn, not a trace of light came out, and the room seemed very dark. Qin Ding could only see a vague figure beside the corner of the bed. What are you doing here? The figure collapsed on the ground, his voice cold. The floor around him was full of empty wine bottles and cigarette butts, causing the smell of the entire room to become turbid. Hearing this, Qin Ding's heart was slightly stabbed. Although this younger brother is really incompetent, he is still a biological brother from the same mother. Most of his previous anger towards Qin Shen has slowly dissipated over time. Now seeing Qin Shen looking so decadent and giving up, Qin Ding felt a little guilty in his heart. Qin Ding slowed down his voice, Xiao Shen, I had no choice but to deal with the situation that day, my father has been involved in the situation, and I must find a way to protect the Qin family. In the darkness, a hint of sarcasm slowly emerged from the corner of Qin Shen's mouth. Forced. There was insufficient light in the room, and Qin Ding could not clearly see the expression on Qin Shen's face for a while. Anyway, you should take good care of yourself. If you want to go out to relax, go out. Feeling guilty in his heart, Qin Ding finally relented and let Qin Shen leave the house. No need. Unexpectedly, Qin Shen refused directly. Xiao Shen. Qin Ding frowned, thinking that Qin Shen was still resentful of his original behavior. Qin Shen suddenly changed his attitude, his tone changed from the impulsive and reckless tone of the past, and became sensible and tolerant. Brother, the Qin family is in trouble now, so I won't go out and cause trouble, so as not to be reminded of the Gu family and come to trouble the Qin family again. It's good that you think so. Qin Ding's face relaxed, and then he said with relief, if you need anything, just tell me. Now that the Qin group has been temporarily taken back by Qin Lin, if my father can't come out, we can only give up on the Qin group first and then make other plans. Qin Ding has been working in the Qin group for many years and has always been highly valued by Qin Tianlang. He has also founded several new companies privately. With the backing of the Qin group, his operating momentum is pretty good, and the shares are still completely controlled by him. In hands. Because he had an escape route and a trump card at hand, Qin Ding simply handed over the Qin group when he was unable to reverse the situation of the Qin group. For more than a month, Qin Ding, in addition to trying to save the Qin family, also made secondary preparations, which was to secretly transfer the Qin family's funds to his own company, and the transfer method was also fair and open. There are several contracts to transfer, and there is no way to find fault with him. Even if Qin Lin could get the Qin family, it would still be an incomplete Qin family. Qin Lin, Qin Shen's disguise was almost torn apart at the mention of these two words. It's this waste. His originally smooth life was disrupted. A waste? Why did he get the Qin group? Does Qin Shen hate Qin Ding? Naturally, she hated him for not standing up for her that day and letting herself be humiliated in vain. But Qin Shen hated Qin Qi even more. I hate the nosy Gu family even more. Qin Shen chuckled sinisterly, Qin Lin, Gu family, he he. Xiao Shen, a little impatience will mess up a big plan. We can't afford to offend the Gu family for the time being. I know, brother. As long as you can figure it out. Qin Ding breathed a sigh of relief. He was still worried that his incompetent brother would continue to get into trouble. Don't worry, there is a long way to go. We will definitely settle this debt. Qin Ding stayed for a moment longer, and after confirming that Qin Shen's condition had stabilized, he left the room. After the people left, a transparent panel suddenly lit up in front of Qin Shen. The weak light from the panel shone on Qin Shen's face, adding a bit of coldness for no reason. Qin Shen opened the forum and flipped through some early posts. Children's Day hunting list, Qin Qi, 5th place. Excuse me, the number 1 and number 5 on the child hunting list have joined the criminal alliance. Dragon Boat Festival execution list, Qin Qi, 1st place. Number 1 on the killing list, damn, I have over 10,000 points, still the only one with more than 10,000 players. How did you do this? Is it a human being? I was lucky enough to meet Mr. Qin Qi once. He was very cold and handsome, but he seemed very difficult to get close to. Such a big boss must be an old player, right? How come you only came to prominence in June? Maybe big guys like to keep a low profile. Doghead.jpg. Qin Qi, Qin Lin. Qin Shen's lips raised a hint of coldness. Such a coincidence. Moreover, the Xing Alliance was founded by Gu Qi of the Gu family, and Qin Qi happened to be a member of Xing. No wonder, That loser has never been out before, but suddenly he has a relationship with the Gu family, and he can even ask the Gu family to stand up for him. Thinking of this, Qin Shen's eyes became even more cruel. The panel in front of him switched to a chat interface. Qin Shen found a friend and typed directly, "Are you a member of the Undead Vultures?" After 5 minutes, there was a reply. "What did you say? I do not understand." Qin Shen coldly snorted, "Stop pretending. I believe most players have heard of the name of the Undead Vulture, and I am not a new player who has just entered the game." "When did you know?" "Qin Shen, don't worry about it. In short, I won't fall for it. However, I have real-life information about a player here, which you will definitely be interested in. The man, whose, if he is a nobody, we Undead Vultures may not take a fancy to him." "Nobody? Still not interested?" Qin Shen didn't believe it at all. "When I first entered the game, I was a newbie, but I was being targeted. If he hadn't been smart and couldn't go out to Qin's house in the near future, he might have been deceived. But..." Qin Shen revealed his true intention, "Member of Seeing, Qin Qi. You didn't trick me, did you?" 3 exclamation marks showed how unbelieving that person was. Qin Shen typed quickly, "Qin Qi has fatal flaws in reality. As long as you can find him, you can definitely control him easily." The people over there were obviously scared, but he is a member of Seeing after all. The reputation of the Undead Vulture organization is at most a deterrent among small organizations or solo players. And what they do are all immoral things, so they naturally know how to avoid those big alliances. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuan-Ke. Chapter 851. Since knowing the identity of the person opposite, Qin Shen also thought of this method. Qin Qi, that loser, would definitely feel uncomfortable if he was targeted by an undead vulture in reality. However, Qin Shen also considered whether the undead vulture dared to provoke punishment, so he has suppressed it until now. However, Qin Ding came over just now and gave Qin Shen an unacceptable message. The Qin family fell into the hands of that good-for-nothing. Although Qin Shen had an affair with Qin Ding before, they were brothers after all. Qin Shen knew that he was not capable of managing the Qin family. He naturally wanted Qin Ding to be in charge of the Qin family than Qin Qi. Qin Shen continued to seduce, "Just a member, think about it, how many precious game items a high player will have in his inventory as long as he controls the person, those treasures are all yours." There was no immediate reply, probably because he was hesitating. After 5 minutes, there was finally new news. "This matter is of great importance, I need to report it to the senior management for decision first." When Qin Shen saw it, he immediately smiled. "This matter is half done." The other side. Little White Flower looked at the chat record sent by Qin Shen, and after thinking about it, switched to another friend chat interface. Xiao Beiwa is a veteran player of the Undead Vulture. She is usually responsible for deceiving newcomers and obtaining practical information about them. Qin Shen was originally one of Xiao Beiwa's targets, but unfortunately it took too long and the former discovered the clues. Just when Xiao Beiwa was about to give up on Qin Shen's goal, she encountered Qin Shen taking the initiative to come to her door. Xiao Beiwa entered a paragraph of text in the content box, explained the general cause of the incident, and then clicked send. "Boss, I think that boy is right. If we can catch Qin Qi, wouldn't he be able to be used by us?" The person Xiao Beiwa was looking for happened to be his immediate boss and the third in command within the Undead Vulture. After waiting for a minute, a new message popped up. "What are you thinking about?" "That Qin Qi is a member of Seeing. He has participated in several dungeons with Gu Qi. If he can stay with Gu Qi all the time, he must be an elite member of Seeing." Xiao Beiwa's face was slightly confused. "Elite member? Not an ordinary member? If Qin Shi is really an elite member of Seeing, he is indeed a being that the undead vulture cannot afford to offend. Xiao Beihua, then, can we just give up? Nonsense, the undead vulture has been able to operate until now because it has not enmity with those major alliances and has the temerity to plot against an elite member of a major alliance. Do you think I have a long life? The third in command of the undead vulture was scolded all over the place. Xiao Beihua panicked and quickly expressed her position, no, no. However, this matter is not without benefits. That player who is trying to use the undead vulture to cause trouble for Qin Shi, continue to dig out his information, and when the time comes, reveal it to Seeing. After scolding people, the third in command changed the topic and finally found out the profitable part. Xiao Beihua suddenly realized, yes, in this way, you can take the opportunity to pay the penalty. The boss is wise. Another point is that if Qin Shi has any problems in reality, we should also dig them out. We can't afford to punish him, but this is not necessarily the case for some major alliances. Then we can earn an information fee. Yes, yes, this is good. After the specific details of the matter were discussed, Xiao Beihua went back to repeat Qin Shen's words. On the surface, the pretending undead vulture agreed to Qin Shen's suggestion. Naturally, he learned from Qin Shen what Qin Shi's flaws were. Then, Xiao Beihua pretended to ask why Qin Shen hated Qin Shi, whether it was in reality or in the game. Although Qin Shen was vigilant and did not reveal his true personal information, he did not continue to conceal some information that was not important. After all, he now placed his hope on the undead vulture, and his relationship needed to be contacted. But Qin Shen never expected that he would be sold directly to the undead vulture. Gu's manor. In Gu Qi's absence, all the daily affairs in the manor were taken care of by Buletin Bai. At the same time, he was the one who made the decisions regarding the game, even if it was nothing major. While Chi Bubi was chatting with others on the panel, a short pop-up window appeared, indicating that someone had added him as a friend. Chi Bubi clicked in and found that the game nickname was somewhat familiar. This seems to be someone from the undead vulture. Chi Bubi quickly recognized the person, and at the same time, he was filled with doubts in his heart. How did the undead vulture find him? After Chi Bubi clicked agree, not long after, the undead vulture player took the initiative to send a message. Assistant Chi, that's pretty much it? After reading the information revealed by the undead vulture, Chi Bubi's face became slightly colder. In reality, he has a grudge against Qi Xiao, and he also knows that Qi Xiao has a leg problem and is often not clear-headed. Chi Bubi has read Qin Shi's information. Except for the confidentiality during his service, the rest of his life has been so hostile to Qin Shi, and he has concluded that Qin Shi's shortcomings. There is only the Qin family. Since the Qin family was hit, Chi Bubi has been observing in secret for a long time in order to prevent the Qin family from making a comeback. The player who hates the seventh young master is male and 19 years old. The only one who meets this condition is Qin Shen. Speaking of which, Qin Shen has been locked up in the Qin family during this period. If he becomes a player and has to disappear for a period of time every few days, Qin Shen, who can only stay at home, can hide it well. Chi Bubi's fingertips moved slightly. I understand, thank you for your organization's disclosure. Ha ha ha, you're welcome. I've also admired the criminal alliance for a long time. Chi Bubi turned off the panel, his face condensed. Unexpectedly, Qin Shen also became a player and wanted to use the game to plot against the seventh young master. Chi Bubi thought for a while and decided to inform Qin Shi first and listen to the latter's opinion before making any plans. Qin Shi, who was about to return to the manor, received a call from Chi Bubi on the way and learned about the incident. 7 young masters, it should be that you just took back the Qin group. That Qin Shen couldn't sit still and came up with this stupid trick. Qin Shi's eyes were dim and unclear, and he said softly, I know, I will pay attention to it. Even if the undead vulture wants to attack him, his legs are healed now and he is not afraid of the former causing trouble for him. Perhaps the only troublesome thing is worrying about people finding out that I have recovered, and then thinking of the dream repair agent. Everyone in the Chin family knew that his legs were disabled, so when the Chin family was taken back, Chin Chi did not come forward. Chi Bubi asked, Chi Xiao, that Chin Shen is still trying to plot against you. What are your plans? How do you want to deal with him? Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 852. Chin Chi slightly lowered his eyes. What's the plan? A spoiled brat, Chin Chi actually didn't have much hatred for Chin Shen towards him. Since taking the dream repair agent, Chin Chi has also regained a clear consciousness. At first, when he was trapped in a dark room and became Chin Shen's punching bag, the words the former heard the most were trash. If it weren't for your rich mother, my parents would have been together legitimately. Your mother is the one who interfered. You are the mistress's child. The heir to the Chin family can only be my brother. You are nothing. There are countless insults like this. Chin Chi has no intention of pursuing too many grievances of the previous generation, nor does he need to impose them on himself. But at that time, Chin Chi was a little confused and felt that Chin Shen's words made some sense. Indeed, from an emotional point of view, Chin Chi's mother seemed to be an intruder, and it seemed reasonable for Chin to be deeply annoyed with him. He is a player now, and there is no way to restrict him from talking too much in the game. Chin Chi paid more attention to Chin Shen's leaks. Is this the behavior a serious family member should have? It's simple. You can't enter the dungeon now. All you need to do is cripple and knock people out. Chi Bubi's voice seemed gentle, but the words he spoke were chilling. After hearing this, Chin Chi stopped worrying about his original family situation. He thought for a while and said, the undead vultures know my real flaws and my real identity. Will they keep it a secret? No matter how you look at it, a notorious organization like the undead vultures suddenly shows kindness. In particular, Xing doesn't have much friendship with the undead vultures. The undead vulture hid Chin Shen's information and wanted to get closer to Xing. It could also hide Chin Chi's information from Xing and disclose it to other interested players. On the other side, Chi Bubi instantly understood what Chin Chi meant. I will let people keep an eye on the undead vulture. It just so happened that the person who revealed the news to me was the third in command of the undead vulture. His real identity was revealed some time ago. It's been checked out. The news that Chin Chi's legs have recovered cannot yet be known to other players. At least, we have to wait until game items can be brought into reality without any obstacles or restrictions. Yes, Chin Chi's eyes darkened slightly. You can give it a proper beating. How can a person wander around the world without getting stabbed? The undead vulture is accustomed to using physical door-to-door coercion to force players one after another. And this time, let them also experience this feeling. The Chin family's matter is almost over. It's not convenient for me to continue to come forward later. Please help me follow up. Chin Chi considered that her real flaws were leaked, so in order not to cause unnecessary trouble, she could only go back to the manor and continue to avoid the limelight. As long as they are in the manor, even if other player forces want to get close to Chin Chi, it is absolutely impossible, let alone discovering that Chin Chi has repaired the defect of disabled legs. Okay, Chi Xiao. Gu's Manor. Chi Bubi dialed another mobile phone number. The previous plan was advanced to today. Remember to ask Xiu Yulong for me. Yes. The other end. Outside the gate of a community. After receiving the instructions, the group of people set off one after another, entered the community, and walked directly to the door of one of the buildings. In room F505. A man with a beer belly is sitting on the sofa, shaking a red wine glass in his hand, with an expression of enjoyment, while a translucent panel floats in front of him. Qiu Yulong took a sip of red wine, and the input box of the chat interface on the panel typed out the content according to his thoughts. How is it? How are you thinking? Are you sure the information you got is reliable? Qiu Yulong, of course, our undead vultures have one of the best reputations, so why are you worried? Wait for me for 5 minutes. Okay. Qiu Yulong agreed, then turned around and switched to the chat interface to find the next buyer. I have a shocking revelation here, are you interested? Have you heard of Qin Chi? Your organization wanted to inquire from us before. As the sworn enemy of Gu Qi, the person in charge of seeing, I believe that the Xiao family leader should be very interested and can pretend to sue on his behalf. There are important things to discuss. 1 or 2 were not enough, so Qiu Yulong directly cast the net and caught as much as he could. Anyway, no one said they wanted to buy it out exclusively. However, Qiu Yulong thought it would cost him everything. Knock knock. At this time, the door was knocked. Qiu Yulong put down his wine glass and approached the door confused. Who is it? Before opening the door, Qiu Yulong took a special look at the cat's eye. As a result, he seemed to only see a little girl standing at the door with a timid expression and no danger. Seeing this, Qiu Yulong lowered his guard and opened the door. Unexpectedly, as soon as he opened it, a group of people leaning against the wall, all tall men, rushed in. The eyes of the girl he saw before also became calm and serious. You, who are you? How can you break into a private house? Qiu Yulong suddenly became vigilant, stepped back, and kept a safe distance. At the same time, his foreign eyes started to roll crazily. Among the group of people, someone was the first to speak. Mr. Qiu Yulong, Assistant Qi asked us to say hello to you. Get straight to the point without beating around the bush. Qi Special Assistant. Qiu Yulong turned around and his brain was stuck for a moment. Wait. Assistant Qi, is there something wrong? It's nothing serious. It's just that Assistant Qi said that Mr. Qiu did a favor this time. A few of us happened to be passing by, so we came to take a look. Very kind and sincere. But there were so many people in front of him. Judging from their faces, they were not as numerous as the spring equinox. Qiu Yulong complained hundreds of times in his heart. Haha, no need to thank you. Qiu Yulong's face trembled twice. This is a threat. Absolutely. Qiu Yulong's mind turned around and he secretly complained in his heart. Xing's reaction, speed, and execution are too exaggerated. 1 second, he was thanking himself for tipping off the information, but the next second, he quickly came to knock on his door. It was really. The group stayed at Qiu Yulong's home for a full 2 hours. During this period, Qiu Yulong did not dare to take a breath, and kept his smiling face, making the group of people who came to threaten live a comfortable life. 2 hours later, Qiu Yulong finally sent the person away. After the group left, Qiu Yulong quickly locked the door. Finally, he exhaled heavily, his face as ugly as a bitter gourd. After all, it's still a major league. Qiu Yulong took a deep breath, opened the panel, and saw that there were many new messages in the friend interface, which he had not been willing to buy in the past 2 hours. Hey! Qiu Yulong sighed and could only find excuses to send these people away. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuan-Ke. Chapter 853. Assistant Qi, the 7th young master is back. When Qin Qi came back, Qi Bubi also received a notice from the servant. After Qi Bubi dismissed the servant, he continued to dial the phone number found on his mobile phone. The Qin family put more pressure on Qin Shen. A cold light flashed in Qi Bubi's eyes. The person that young Master Ziozi wants to protect is not the turn of others to plot against him. The previous punishment given to Qin Shen was still too light and not memorable at all. Yes, Assistant Kite. After Qi Bubi cut off the call and was about to continue processing the documents at hand, a subordinate hurried over with an invitation in his hand. Assistant Chi, this is an invitation from Xiao Si of the Xiao family. It says that he wants to invite me to a banquet or something. Xiao Si. Throw it away, Chi Booby said calmly, with an imperceptible cold light flashing across his eyes. Yes. Chi Booby raised his eyes and glanced at this person. His face was not very familiar. Are you a new transfer? Ah. No. Lao Zhang just had diarrhea and went to work in the pit, so I sent this invitation, the subordinate explained. A flash of understanding flashed in Chi Booby's eyes. In the main villa, there are fixed rules for who can enter. Lao Zhang is always in charge of matters such as invitations. Naturally, he also knows a hidden rule of the Gu family: all matters related to the Xiao family or Xiao Si must be dealt with. No need to report. Chi Booby, from now on, there is no need to report anything related to the Xiao family or Xiao Si, just treat it as garbage. Yes. You go down. After the others left, Chi Booby raised his hands slightly and pressed his temples. That Xiao Si, after so many years, is still like a dogskin plaster, disgusting and difficult to get rid of. Fortunately, young Master Xiaozi didn't worry about it at all. Chi Booby finished processing all the new files on hand and basically didn't encounter any big problems. At this time, Chi Booby's cell phone rang. He picked up the phone and saw that it was a cross-border call. Chi Booby answered the call immediately. Sir, Chi Booby's tone was full of respect. Within a month, you should prepare enough daily necessities. Also, I should be returning to China early, so there is no need to announce it first. On the other side of the ocean, a man stood on top of a tall building several hundred meters high, looking down at the noisy world below with a faint gaze. Next to the man, 3 foreign men who were handcuffed behind their backs collapsed on the ground with varying degrees of injuries on their bodies. Behind him, there were men subordinates who were watching silently, always alert to their surroundings. Sir, what news did you get? Chi Booby keenly caught the strangeness in the words. The man hummed softly, his eyes became dark, he raised his head slightly and looked at the sky above his head. Anyway, make preparations first. Actually, Master Xiaozi has already asked his subordinates to make preparations. The man's expression paused slightly, he was silent for 2 seconds, and then sneered lightly, it's not that stupid. Chi Booby suddenly became silent. The man's cell phone was not on him, but was held by one of his men. He had a Bluetooth in his right ear and was connecting to the cell phone. As the man walked towards one of the handcuffed foreigners, he asked casually, did he run away from the country? Or was he with a little girl? It's Miss Shan Yu, afraid that the nobleman would forget things, Chi Booby added, that's the little girl you asked to take care of back then. Is it her? The man raised his eyebrows slightly, did that idiot remember it? Probably not. After all, Master Xiaozi was still young at that time and may not remember. Tisk. The man grabbed a foreigner with one hand, as if he were carrying a chicken, and without any explanation, pushed the foreigner down to the edge of the parapet. Most of his body was exposed in the air, and the whole person was light and weightless, as if he could fall down at any time. Ah! The man yelled in horror, nervously speaking in foreign bird language. My subordinates feel that young Master Xiaozi is not so repulsive to Miss Shan Yu, which is also a good thing. The man's eyes were sharp, as if he remembered something embarrassing, and his grip on the foreigner's hand relaxed slightly. In just a few minutes, most of the foreigner's body left the protective wall uncontrollably. The foreigner was howling like a ghost, with all kinds of bird words popping up constantly, and his eyes were begging the man to let him go. The other 2 foreigners were also frightened when they saw this scene. Could this powerful and cruel Oriental man really kill them? In the end, the foreigner who thought he was going to see God was pulled back by the man and thrown to the ground. The man's expression was indifferent, but his tone was unmistakable. After playing for a few days, it's time to come back. Soon, there will be no peace abroad. No, it should be that the whole world will not be calm. Master Zioz and the others will be back before August. After hanging up the call, the man treated everyone equally, allowing the other two foreigners to experience what it means to be on the verge of death. Then, while the three of them were still at their weakest after being tortured physically and mentally, the man's eyes flickered with purple light. "Where is Chu Xinyu?" The three of them stared blankly ahead without any reaction. The man frowned slightly, but he didn't expect to find Chu Xinyu's lair all at once. "Who gave me a stumbling block back then?" One of the foreigners opened his mouth slightly. "Yes, it was O'Neill's instigation." The man straightened up slightly, his eyes cold. "O'Neill's? Ah. When he was first calculated, the hidden accomplices never surfaced." Over the years, the man finally narrowed the scope of suspicion to 3 world-class established families, including the Onions. After investigating for so long, the deeper the investigation went on, the more shocked the man became to realize how many powerful forces Chu Xinyu was relying on. Although the man is arrogant, he is not stupid. He feels that a Gu family can compare with many world-class established families. When that incident happened, the man was so furious that he just thought it was an ordinary seduction. But Chu Xinyu clearly has the support of so many forces behind her and is prospering, so why does she still need to provoke the Gu family? Men don't believe that Chu Xinyu is a love brain. With the latter's scheming and methods, it is impossible for him to be a reckless love brain. And, what is hidden in this? The man asked again, which family member in Onionsley has something to do with Chu Xinyu? Devin O'Neill's. Take it away. The man took out a handkerchief and wiped his hands with a cold voice. As soon as he finished speaking, the men on the side who looked like a background board strictly carried out the order and dragged the 3 people down. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuan Ke. Chapter 854. Chinese time, 11:45/7.30. Western Xinjiang region. Go faster. Be honest. Heavily armed border guards escorted a dozen foreigners who wanted to enter the country illegally. These foreigners looked depressed and had varying degrees of injuries on their bodies. This is the first batch of stowaways who want to cross the border. On the side, Sutingyu turned his sore wrist. Although it was easy for Sutingyu to beat someone up, it was a bit laborious to either beat someone or beat someone up for several days in a row. Siepwu held a tablet and confirmed the number and physical information of the stowaways arrested at the scene. It should be the 13th batch. Siepwu responded casually, saved the verified data, and sent it out. The intentions of these stowaways are very complicated, some are personal, some are foreign organizations or even the nature of the state. In this sensitive period, they must also be paying close attention to the specific trends in our country. No matter what the intentions are, allowing these people to come in will inevitably lead to the risk of social disorder. Let's go back and eat first. Sutingyu touched his stomach, feeling a little hungry. Siepwu nodded. Okay, I chose the afternoon for the next task. The two of them returned to the nearest border defense base with the escort team. At noon, the smell of food was already wafting from the base canteen. Sutingyu and the other two prepared a meal and then found a free place to sit down. How long will it take for us to fly around doing tasks like this? Sutingyu took a bite of rice and asked while chewing. Although this was within the scope of his responsibilities, Sutingyu wanted to finish the job quickly and return to Kyoto. Normally at this time, it is the peak summer travel season. If the company does not have any work, Sutingyu would already be happily traveling and having fun. It should take a few more days. Siepwu explained. The most important thing now is the protection of the border. The tasks within the city have become fewer now, because the number of local players has begun to be integrated and player groups are transferred from the system to stabilize the local social order. There are few people on this side of the border, so we need to send a fixed group of players to protect us. Oh, Sutingyu suddenly realized. Siepui rolled her eyes slightly. Oh, Mao, my authority is the same as yours. If you check carefully, you will also know. Sutingyu chuckled. This is so troublesome, isn't it, because of you? You're too lazy. Siepui's cell phone rang next to him. He turned around and saw that it was a message, so he opened it casually. Dead fish, Xiao Xiao is coming. There was a hint of joy between Siepui's eyebrows. Really? Didn't Xiao Xiao go abroad? Sutingyu was a little surprised. It was Xiao Xiao himself who applied to come to Zhejiang. He is from Zhejiang and is the most suitable person to be in charge of Zhejiang. The Xiao Xiao they call Xiao Xiao is also a member of the non-order. His first name is Harik Hermity and his nickname is Xiao Xiao. He has just turned 18 this year and is one of the younger members of the non-order. Sutingyu blinked his big eyes. Xiao Xiao is also a player. Yes, why don't you keep yourself busy? Within a few months of the closed beta, non-order members have become players one after another. In the non-order, he is the only one from Zhejiang and a player. It would be feasible to let him come over. Sutingyu habitually ignored his young age. After all, the boy was as smart as a kid. Except for Xiao Xiao, Char Su will come later. He is an orphan, used to a wandering life, and doesn't care where he lives, so he was arranged to come to Zhejiang so that he and Xiao Xiao can be taken care of. Xiao Xiao will be here before the afternoon. When this kid heard that we were here, he asked us to wait for him to leave. Sutingyu finished eating the rice on the plate and looked satisfied. That's okay. I haven't seen Xiao Xiao in a long time. After the two had lunch, they each went to rest for an hour. An hour later, the two left the base and went to the nearest airport. At this time, a plane landed slowly, and the passengers inside also walked out of the cabin door to the westernmost land of the motherland. A tall young man pushed a suitcase out of the airport gate. In front of the door, Sutingyu and Siepuiu had come over a long time ago, but they did not board the plane immediately, but waited there. When the young man glanced around, he landed on Sutingyu and the two of them. A hint of joy appeared on his face, and he shouted, Sister Susu, Brother Siet. This, Xiao Xiao. Sutingyu looked for fame and saw such a tall young man walking towards them, with a sense of familiarity in his brows. Siepuiu gave a definite answer, it's Xiao Xiao. The two of them greeted him. Sutingyu excitedly reached out and patted Harik's thin shoulder. Long time no see, you've grown taller. Sutingyu remembered that when she first met Harik, he was just over 1.6 meters tall, not much taller than her. But after just a few years of not seeing each other, Harik seemed to have taken hormones and was now almost 1.8 meters tall. The more she looked at it, the more Sutingyu felt sour, and then she secretly made up her mind to have her height measured when she got back. Maybe she had grown taller too? Sister Susu, Brother Sia. A cheerful smile appeared on Harik's face, as bright as a little sun. Are you leaving? Siepuiu nodded. Yes, hurry to the next mission point. I'll leave it to you and the barbecued pork here in Zhejiang. Harik made a fist with his right hand, lightly hammered his chest, and promised, don't worry, this is my hometown, and I will definitely defend Western Xinjiang. Okay, Siepuiu said with a smile in her eyes, time is running out, we will have a good time to talk about the past when we have time. Harik is an expatriate in the non-order. Most of the time, he goes abroad to perform tasks and rarely returns to his country. Naturally, he can't meet him a few times. Well, speaking of this, Harik was also very regretful. You finally came to Western Xinjiang with great difficulty, but I couldn't fulfill my friendship as a landlord. I will make up for it when I have the opportunity next time. Okay. I heard that the fruits in Zhejiang are very good, Sutingyu rubbed his hands, his voice filled with expectation. Herrick, after Western Xinjiang is stabilized, I will bring some specialties from Western Xinjiang to the Magic City. He. Okay. But I'm currently living in Kyoto. The three of them exchanged brief greetings for a while and then separated. After all, they all had missions. After the two boarded the plane, Siepweo took out a USB flash drive and inserted it into the laptop. This USB flash drive was handed over to Siepweo by Herrick just now. The two people were seated next to each other, and Sutingyu leaned his head curiously. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 855. This is the information I ask Xiao Xiao in advance. He has generally stayed abroad in the past few years. When he became a player, he was in America, so the player area of the panel forum was in America by default. Sutingyu was a little surprised when she heard this. Is there such a thing? When she usually logs onto the forum, she just reads the forum posts. Siepweo explained, with regard to the issue of forum player regional settings, few players pay attention to it, and they may not even know it. Currently, the forum area is divided into 5 sections: Asia, America, Europe, Africa, Ocean, Arctic, and Antarctica merges into the European and Oceanic plates. What's the difference and impact of being separated like this? Sutingyu asked. Of course there is. For players in different sectors, the forum channels will not be open and they cannot communicate with each other. In addition, the dungeon styles experienced by players in different sectors are also slightly different. Siepweo thought for a moment and began to give examples. Do you know the attributes of the dungeons currently appearing? Investigation shows that there is a fairy tale dungeon among which players from the Asian and African sectors have the least chance of encountering it, while players from the European and American sectors have the least chance of encountering it. Players have the highest chance of encountering them. Hearing what Siepweo said, Sutingyu felt that this was the case. She had never experienced a copy of the fairy tale attribute and almost forgot about it. I rarely see foreign players leaving messages on the forum. It turns out that the reason is here. Siepweo, if you want to go to other sections, you have to go to the real section area before the next copy comes, and the player's regional settings will automatically change. Therefore, I asked Xiao Xiao to pay attention to the American section forum, and said maybe there will be some new discoveries. So what's going on now? Sutingyu suddenly became more interested. Players on the American side have indeed received notification of the end of the internal beta. Siepweo browsed the forum posts inside. The contents of these posts were all written down by Herrick. Some of them were about the internal beta thing. Hearing this, Sutingyu wasn't too surprised. In the same world, it would be a bit outrageous if players in any area did not end the closed beta. However, there are some differences in the dates. Siepweo pointed at the dates marked on some forum posts. The global time is not synchronized. The internal beta and announcements of various major sections all end on July 22 locally, so there are changes. Sutingyu opened her eyes slightly. Indeed. And this? Siepweo pointed to this point again. Some players can be forced to enter the professional dungeon after the internal beta. What? Sutingyu was shocked. The professional dungeon can still be entered. Sutingyu couldn't help but think of the few tokens still stored in her inventory, but they still haven't responded yet. It must be because there aren't enough people holding them, and she doesn't know when they will be triggered. This is indeed the case. Siepweo's face turned slightly serious. The internal beta test is over, all ordinary dungeons have been closed, and even the players who were entering the dungeon have been kicked out, but the professional dungeon is an exception. Ordinary dungeon, professional dungeon. Sutingyu silently thought about the difference between the two. Isn't it that one is a fake world and the other is a real world? Etc. Maybe that's the reason? Sutingyu's eyes widened, and then he told this guess to Siepweo, who was not too surprised and just nodded in agreement. I also guessed that it might be because of this. So what new information is there? Siepweo swiped the screen. Isn't this what you are watching? Sutingyu watched for a while, but found nothing new, so he became bored. Then just watch it first, and tell me if you find anything. Sutingyu got bored thinking about it, so he opened his dashboard and started refining potions and improving his proficiency. Currently, Sutingyu's intermediate proficiency has reached 1/10, and there is still a long way to go before reaching full proficiency. However, there is still hope. After reaching full proficiency, Sutingyu can refine more advanced potions. Sutingyu continued to pick out a few potions and refine them specially. If he refined too many, he would trade them. Although the closed beta is over, the game is not over yet, and Sutingyu needs to make more preparations. Sutingyu didn't avoid Siepweo. Anyway, he could only see himself opening the panel, but he couldn't see the contents of his panel. The two booked a luxury private cabin, and there were no other passengers nearby. Even the stewardess needed their permission to come in. Sutingyu had been refining it for 2 hours. He looked as proficient as a lazy little turtle and didn't seem to move at all. He couldn't help but yawned. Feeling sleepy, Sutingyu turned off the panel, found a comfortable position, and began to catch up on her sleep. After more than an hour, the plane landed slowly. Dead fish, let's go. Siepweo put away the computer and woke up Sutingyu. After being woken up, Sutingyu rubbed his eyes. Oh. After the two got off the plane, they took a short rest before starting a new mission. In the courtyard of a certain B/U0026B. Sutingyu kicked a man in the abdomen. The latter's face instantly turned purple, and he knelt down on the ground, clutching his abdomen as if he was no longer burdened. Seeing that the man seemed to want to stand up and resist, Sutingyu kicked him again and said, "Be honest." Siepweo was watching the wind from the side, taking the opportunity to be a melon eater. I'll go with you, go with you. The man finally gave in and begged for mercy with a grimace. Don't fight, don't fight. Sutingyu skillfully handcuffed the man and put a black hood on the man. Siepweo made a phone call and asked nearby system personnel to come over and take custody of the person. The two of them just waited for someone on the spot. Xiaoyu, hurry up and take over the next mission, Sutingyu urged. I know. Siepweo fiddled with the tablet in his hand. He raised his head and looked for the source of the sound, but unexpectedly he didn't see a trace of anyone. Dead fish, Siepweo froze on the spot. Where are people? Disappear into thin air? The yard is neither big nor small, and there is no place to hide people. In just 2 seconds, Siepweo didn't hear the footsteps at all. Sutingyu couldn't just fly out of the yard, right? Siepweo quickly took out her mobile phone and tried to call Sutingyu's mobile phone, but the call could not be made at all. It just displayed. The number you dialed is no longer in the service area. Please call again later. Not in the service area? This. Siepweo's temples twitched, and she suddenly thought of a certain possibility, and her expression suddenly became wonderful. In the end, it just turned into a helpless complaint. Jo. Damn this luck. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 856. France time, 10:30/7.30. Batu. Louvre Museum. Shan Yu, who had visited the Louvre Museum early in the morning, followed Gucci out of the museum with satisfaction. The world-famous Batu Louvre really deserves its reputation. Gucci kept his word and really allowed Shan Yu to go to places of interest in various Western European countries these days. Last night, the two of them arrived in Batu, France, and went out for fun early this morning. The Sina Mall here in Batu is also very popular. While Gucci was speaking, he glanced at Shan Yu. Girls should all like shopping. Then on our next trip, Let's go shopping at the Sena Mall. Shan Yu held his mobile phone and studied the travel guide on it attentively. Shan Yu has never been abroad much, let alone traveled abroad. Now that he finally has free time, he naturally wants to have fun. The two agreed to go back on August 1st, including today. There were still 2 days left. Shan Yu had to cherish it and carefully plan the next schedule. I'm going to touch up my makeup first, and you can go shopping first. Shan Yu took out a small mirror and looked at it, then said to Gucci with a natural look on his face. Gucci. Gucci silently glanced at Shan Yu, then looked away. Yeah. In the past few days, Gucci often heard Shan Yu say that he was going to touch up his makeup, but after finishing it, he didn't feel any difference. At most, it was more beautiful. Slowly, Gucci figured out the underlying meaning of Shan Yu's words. He just wanted to go to the toilet. Both of them had their mobile phones with them, and their positioning was always on. They were not afraid of not being able to find anyone after being separated for a while. Shan Yu left and Gucci walked to a place with few people. Unknowingly, Gucci walked to a remote and inconspicuous path, and saw no one nearby. Gucci's face softened a bit. No one. No more squeezing around. Stop. Stop. Cunning yellow man. Cunning yellow man. Hearing the noise, Gucci stopped. 5 figures emerged from the corner about 10 meters ahead. 1 yellow man and 4 white men. The 4 white men were obviously in a group, with fierce expressions on their faces, and they were eyeing the yellow man. The yellow man, who looks to be no more than 30 years old, is a male. Although he is in trouble now, he is not as careless as ordinary people. Gucci had no intention of meddling in other people's business. He was just thinking about staying away from these people, but he stopped again because of a word. Sure enough, they are players. Do you still want to play with us? Sure enough, they are players. Do you still want to play with us? Misunderstanding, it's all misunderstanding. I'm just passing by. Misunderstanding, it's all misunderstanding, I'm just passing by. Really think we're fools? You don't know how many times you've passed in 3 days. Really think we're fools? You don't know how many times you've passed in 3 days. Why do you say so much? Just go back and interrogate. Look, which country sent the spy? Why do you say so much? Just go back and interrogate. Look, which country sent the spy? Player. Gucci's eyes flickered and he looked up again. A transparent, smaller version of the panel popped up on top of the yellow man's head. It was familiar to Gucci. It only popped up when checking the player's identity. Because the distance was too far, Gucci couldn't see clearly what was on the panel. But since the identity of the players can be found, then these people are all players? Gucci didn't expect that he could meet foreign players here. After all, as a player, he would not be exposed in public easily. The world is so big that 200,000 closed beta players are insignificant among the 7 billion. No one has enough time to meet a random person on the street and approach them sneakily like a pervert to check if there are any players. Identity. At this moment, the man took advantage of the 4 white people to be distracted and relaxed, and slipped away again. And the direction of escape was obviously Gucci's side. When the man saw Gucci, his eyes paused for a moment, then became very eager. He even waved to Gucci as he ran away. Brother! You're here at last. I've been waiting for you so hard. Brother, you're finally here, I've been waiting for you so hard. You help me stop them first. Thank you, brother. You help me stop them first, thank you, brother. Gucci. What a coincidence. Gucci and that man have the same skin color, and they are both of yellow race. It is not impossible to say that they are accomplices. But after being yelled at by the latter several times, the 4 foreigners would rather believe that they are, Logo. There was also a bit of hatred in Gucci's eyes. There are associates. There are associates. Don't even want to go. Don't even want to go. Gucci's face darkened slightly. He just took a step slowly and was picked on? The four foreigners ran toward Gucci, and one of them seemed to be holding a walkie-talkie in his hand, speaking quickly, as if he was calling someone. Block all nearby exits, the other party has an accomplice. Block all nearby exits, the other party has an accomplice. There was no hesitation. In the current situation, it was impossible for Gucci to stand there stupidly, praying that the other party was a good person and could let him go after the misunderstanding was resolved. Moreover, if you are approached within 2 meters, the other party can check your identity as a player. By then, it will be even more difficult to explain. Gucci ran away. However, he did not run around, but followed the yellow man who framed him. If they ran separately, the four foreigners would have to chase them separately. Although taking care of them could reduce the pressure, the yellow man also achieved his goal. Gucci was angry, so naturally he would not let the other party succeed. While running away, the fastest yellow man did not forget to look back at the situation behind him. As a result, I saw that Gucci didn't run away separately and attracted people here. Harmful. Is this person too stubborn? Wouldn't it be better to run separately? The man running away at the front complained silently in his heart. The man sped up several times, trying to get rid of the people behind him, but he could only get rid of half of them. The four foreigners gradually couldn't catch up with him, but Gucci still followed closely. Stop, stop, stop. After running under a deserted construction building, the man stopped, gasped for air, and made a pause gesture to Gucci. Gucci also stopped, 5 or 6 meters away from the man, neither far nor close. When the man regained his breath, he spoke in proficient and natural Chinese, "Thank you for your help today. We meet in the mountains and rivers. If there is an opportunity in the future, I will repay my gratitude." "Oh, thank you again tomorrow." Gucci looked at him coldly. Full of nonsense. No information was left, and no information was asked about him. There was no hint of sincerity. If this person ran away easily, there might be no chance of meeting him again. Gucci moved his wrist and said, "There is no need to come tomorrow. You can repay me now. My hands have been itchy recently and I need a human sandbag." The man's face froze slightly and he immediately laughed. Selectively ignoring Gucci's last words, "It's settled. I'll repay you someday. Brother, I'm leaving first. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuan-K. Chapter 857. Gucci, I finally found you. When the man was about to continue running in the opposite direction to Gucci's absence, Shan Yu, after putting on makeup, followed the location of his mobile phone and came over, blocking the man's way. Shan Yu glanced at the strange man, then looked at Gucci with slight confusion. "Who is this? Do you know him?" "I don't know him, he's just a sandbag with no eyes." Gucci's tone was cold. "Man. Shan Yu." The man was very upset. He didn't do any fortune-telling when he went out today, and now he seemed to be in trouble. "Beauty, you guys chat, I'll get out of here." The man smiled playfully at Shan Yu, thinking about leaving quickly. The next second, the man's expression changed, and a strong wind struck behind him. He immediately dodged sideways without thinking. The man patted his chest as if with lingering fear, and then glared at Gucci angrily. "You sneak attack. You don't follow martial ethics." Chinese people. Gucci played with the sharp blade in his hand and raised the corners of his lips slightly, beating a dog with barbecued pork buns. "I remember you." Hearing this, the man's face froze. Barbecued pork buns and dogs, are clearly men's game nicknames. Although Gucci didn't succeed just now, the moment he got close, he also found the man's game nickname. Man, hum, hum, hum. Careless. Click. At this time, a clear sound of taking pictures sounded. The man turned around blankly and saw that Shan Yu had picked up the camera hanging on his chest and calmly took pictures of the two of them. Seeing both of them looking over, Shan Yu smiled shyly. You go on, I'll take a picture of the scenery. Man, landscape. This camera almost hit my face. His grandma's. At this time, everyone's game nickname and appearance were all recorded. This man and woman are so ruthless. Beauty, I didn't offend you, did I? The man felt that he was innocent and wronged, and tried to get close to Shan Yu and take away the camera. But when Shan Yu saw the man move one step closer, she took 2 steps away without giving the latter a chance. Shan Yu stretched out a slender white finger and pointed at Gucci, his eyes even more innocent. But you seem to have offended my boss. I, a small employee, seize the opportunity to please the boss. Can you understand this? The man was speechless. Can I not understand? Shan Yu smiled. You can understand. Man. The man took a deep breath. A hint of cruelty suddenly appeared on his face, and rushed directly in Shan Yu's direction. Shan Yu grabbed the camera tightly and moved to the side to avoid it. Gucci also made a move almost at the same time. Just when the man was about to approach Shan Yu, he turned his feet and ran, away, in a direction away from the latter. Shan Yu. Gucci wanted to chase after him, but his eyes fell on Shan Yu and he paused. It was because of his hesitation for 2 seconds that he completely ran away. People slipped away. Shan Yu walked towards Gucci and asked curiously, this person is weird, how did you meet him? Gucci briefly explained the situation just now, took Shan Yu's camera and looked at the photos. The man in the photo is wearing long pants, shorts, black sneakers and a gray sun hat, with half of his face covered by a mask. Although there is no way to know this person's real name and identity, he is from China. If he returns to China and has a photo in hand, there is always a chance to find this person. Gucci is remembering revenge. He has always been the one who deceived people. There is no reason why he was deceived this time and can still pretend that nothing happened. After listening to Gucci's explanation, Shan Yu was even more puzzled. What trouble did this person get into? He can't really be a spy, right? What are the identities of those 4 white people? Leave Batu first. I am forced to show my face. I can't stay in Batu for a long time. Gucci glanced at Shan Yu. Originally, she was promised to continue playing for 2 days. Hearing this, Shan Yu had no objection. Well, let's go back to China. If we have a chance in the future, we can take Susu and the others to play together. In this way, Gucci and Shan Yu left Batu without even staying for lunch. After an hour, on a private jet, Gucci took out a pile of food from the small refrigerator and put it on the table. Then he raised his eyes to look at Shan Yu, who was scrolling through his mobile phone, and said softly, "Eat something." Oh. Shan Yu put down his phone, which was playing a short news video. Recently, a Spanish princess was attacked by gangsters at a birthday party and fell unconscious on the spot. Currently, her life is temporarily out of danger, but she is still in a coma, the director of Ridbai First Hospital revealed. Her Royal Highness the Princess is most likely to have become a vegetative state, and the time to wake up cannot be determined. Gucci sat across from him, and the news host's voice reached his ears word for word. Gucci glanced at Shan Yu again and observed the latter's expression for a few seconds. This is delicious, Gucci, you should eat some too. Shan Yu's expression was as usual, and upon closer inspection, he seemed to be a little happy. Gucci withdrew his gaze. Batu, an airport. I finally got rid of these little tails, I'm so exhausted. The man looked at the airport in front of him and took out his passport. Although his whereabouts were accidentally exposed during this trip, he also gained something. Next, he can return to China and report to Western Xinjiang. While waiting for the plane, the man took out his mobile phone and surfed the internet. Gu Qi, the current head of the Gu family in the capital of the Celestial Empire. The man looked at the photo above and felt a headache for a moment. It is indeed him. Gu Qi of the Gu family is a gamer, his game nickname is He, and he founded the Alliance. Seeing this information is all common knowledge for experienced players in China. Although the man stayed abroad for a long time and did not return home much, he still understood the basic situation in the country and the top strength pyramid of players in the sub-segment. Moreover, the man had met Gu Qi once a few years ago and knew the latter's identity. When I met Gu Qi, I recalled all his identities in just a few seconds, so I asked for help without any psychological burden. And the photos that were taken. The man felt dumbfounded just thinking about this incident. Forget it, it's just a photo. The man made up his mind to sneak out of the country as soon as he was no longer needed in Zhejiang, not going to Kyoto anyway. The power of the Gu family may be terrifying at home, but abroad, it will definitely be out of reach. The man waited for half an hour, and finally, his flight was about to take off. The man stood up immediately and boarded the plane back home. Did he? Several new messages popped up in a QQ group on the man's mobile phone, and the name of the QQ group was Long AOT and Cultivation Group. Group message. No desires and no demands, you must have never imagined it. The dead fish has entered the professional dungeon. Xiao Xiao, really? Didn't you just leave Zhejiang? Sister Susu went in. Ju, I heard you're lucky, carrot carrot. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuan-Ke. Chapter 858. Please note. The number of players carrying Feathers of Fallen Angels has reached the standard to open the Light and Dark Rotation copy. Dear Angel Su players, hello, you have received an invitation letter from the Light and Dark Rotation dungeon. It has been triggered. You will go to the dungeon within 2 minutes. Please be prepared. Finally, Parallel Paradise wishes you a happy journey. Sutingyu, Sutingyu, who was suddenly pulled into the settlement space, was confused. 2 seconds later, his brain came out of the panic state. Sutingyu looked at the panel that popped out in front of him and couldn't help but say, "Holy shit. Good guy." She had just learned that after the closed beta ended, some players would also be pulled into the professional dungeon, and as a result, it was her turn. It stands to reason that the closed beta has been closed for several days. Players can no longer obtain tokens from the dungeon. However, tokens that were not triggered before are now triggered. There are only 2 possibilities. 1. The token copy that was triggered in the past few days was completely cleared. The extra tokens were randomly converted into other tokens. I just happened to get the exact same token as myself, and the number of people reached the target. 2. There are players who have more than 1 piece of Fallen Angel's feather on hand. Now that they are distributed, if the number of token holders reaches the limit, a professional dungeon will be triggered. With 30 seconds of preparation time left, Sutingyu only had time to open the friends system and hastily sent a report safe message to Siepwu. The panel in front of her refreshed the message. Dear Angel Su players, hello, you have confirmed that you have entered the Light and Dark Rotation dungeon world, and you are being matched. The matching is completed, and the countdown to enter the dungeon begins. 3, 2, 1. The rotation of light and darkness, what kind of copy is there? At the moment when Sutingyu's consciousness was blurred, such an idea popped into Sutingyu's mind. On the vast sea, a cargo ship without any markings on the surface moved forward according to the established route. In the dim cargo hold at the bottom, there were about a dozen young women with their hands and feet bound, all motionless and unconscious. At this time, a figure in the corner suddenly moved. After more than 10 seconds, It opened its eyes. After Sutingyu regained consciousness, she moved her body unconsciously and found that her hands and feet were numb, her whole body was weak, and they were all tied up with ropes. Before Sutingyu could figure out the situation, the panel automatically popped up. Copy, rotation of light and darkness. Background, a world where yin and yang are divided, and the cycle of 10,000 years is stagnant in the extremely yin zone. Women are respected, and women are the masters. All men living there can only be reduced to slaves, beasts, and playthings for women to abuse. In the extremely yang zone, men are respected, and men are the masters. All women, including those included, can only be reduced to slaves, beasts, and playthings for men to abuse. Number of players, 20. Main mission, looking for the heart at the junction of light and darkness, to be refreshed. Difficulty, 10 stars. Duration, unlimited. The dungeon can be ended if all players in the dungeon are eliminated or if one player completes all main quests. Pass-through rewards, after clearing the level, you can get a certain amount of game coins, a probability of getting game props and lottery opportunities, and a probability of getting free attribute points. Punishment for failure, 50,000 game coins and 40,000 experience points will be deducted, and 2080 attribute points will be randomly weakened. Sutingyu glanced at the dungeon background, then at the dungeon background. No. Why does it always feel familiar? Sutingyu remembered. Isn't this the background of the previous copy of Yin Yang City? It's exactly the same. Just one more sentence. What about lying to children? Use the background of the previous copy to perfunctory her? Etc. How come the difficulty of the dungeon is 10 stars? Sutingyu remembered that the difficulty of the copy of Yin Yang City was only 6 stars. Sutingyu quickly calmed down. First, we need to confirm whether the worldview of the cycle of light and darkness is consistent with that of Yin Yang City. In addition, even in the same worldview, the difficulty of the dungeon has been upgraded, so we cannot take it lightly. But, Sutingyu was also a little excited. This was the first 10-star copy he had encountered. Sutingyu saw the final failure penalty and counted how many 0 experience points had to be deducted. 40,000. If I remember correctly, if she wants to upgrade from LV7 to LV8, she needs 40,000 experience points. If she fails to clear this round of career dungeon, her current level will definitely return to LV6. As for the 50,000 game currency deducted, it was considered a drizzle for Sutingyu, and it was within the acceptable range. As for the attribute points that would eventually be weakened, Sutingyu selectively ignored them. After all, her personal attributes were full of question marks, and it didn't bother her to deduct them no matter how much, since she couldn't see them anyway. Sutingyu turned off the panel and re-examined his current situation. Visually, Sutingyu could hear the sound of sea water lapping against the walls of a moving ship. His hands and feet were tied now, and there were about a dozen women who were treated the same as him in the cargo hold, but none of them woke up. The number of players in this round of career dungeon is 20. Sutingyu is not 100% sure that the others in the cargo hold are players, however, it should not be the case. If they are players, they may be as awake as himself. Come over. Sutingyu didn't act rashly. The light in the cargo hold was very dark, and his position was in a corner. If he didn't make any noise, no one would notice that he was awake. Sutingyu felt that this body had been drugged, and his whole body was limp, and he couldn't even use the brute force that he was always so popular for. Fortunately, his hands were tied at the wrists and his palms could still move. Sutingyu tried to open the inventory and found that it could be used. He took out a sharp carving knife from the large toolbox and began to grind off the straps on his hands bit by bit. Hanging rope. After untying your hands, untie the ropes on your feet. After regaining his freedom, Sutingyu put the carving knife back into the inventory. Sutingyu took advantage of the fact that no one else in the cargo hold was awake, and just in case, he secretly checked everyone. None of them were players. After walking around for a while, Sutingyu felt that his body was weak. Sutingyu took out a bottle of intermediate antidote from the storage ring and took a sip. As the effect of the medicine took effect, most of the feeling of powerlessness in his body disappeared. Although it has not fully recovered, it has recovered to some extent and does not affect normal operations. Intermediate detoxification potion is a relatively general name. Its main function is to relieve the bad state of the body, and the recovery effect and recovery time are related to the severity of the bad state. If it is too serious, the intermediate antidote will be ineffective, and she can only continue to use the high-level antidote left for her by Teacher Klein. The intermediate antidote potion was refined by Sutingyu in the summer dungeon, but he didn't expect it to come in handy now. Big Fish, I'm back again, do you miss me? Administrators of Yin Yang Star who are still unaware, what a nonsense.